Hey. So, if you're like me, you've thought about and you're thinking about artificial intelligence, you're thinking about AI, you're thinking about AI in the world, you're thinking about AI on the African continent, right? What do we need to make this happen? What do we need to do to make sure we're ahead of the game? What do we need to do to make sure that we're safe in the game, right? And if you've thought about that, you're also thinking about this new conversation about AI regulation, right? So, the current conversation, at least on the continent, the EU is already doing things, the US is already doing things. Africa is now trying to get its head in the game on regulation, right? But the argument at the moment is, should we focus on AI regulation or should we focus on AI infrastructure and development, right? And the argument for AI infrastructure and development is, if we don't have the infrastructure, the tools, the ideas, the researchers, the resources to make AI use a reality on the continent, then what are we regulating, right? If you don't have the tools or the thing to regulate, then you don't need the law to regulate it. And that point is valid, right? Because we have limited resources and we have limited time, especially as a continent, especially where we are at this moment, to focus solely on regulation. I instinctively lean towards, okay, let's not focus on regulation right now. Let's focus on infrastructure development. However, there is an argument to be made for regulation of AI. Why? Because we don't exist in a vacuum, right? Africa does not exist in a vacuum. Africans don't exist in a vacuum. There are other people, there are other competitors, there are other countries who are advancing in the game of AI. And I think of regulation as walls, right? So building walls that what does regulation mean, right? It's building walls to protect people from exploitation, to protect people from individuals, companies, systems that will take advantage of them. And in this case, what does taking advantage look like in AI? What does it look like the African continent? It's nothing that we're not unfamiliar with when you think about how our raw products are being used and how they're exported and how the brain drain on the continent, all those things, right? Nothing new there. I think with AI, what we'll just see is more of people taking advantage of our data, people taking advantage of our resources, taking advantage of our people. If you've heard the conversation about ChatGPT and the workers in Kenya and things of that nature, if we do not have regulation in place, chances are that we are going to find more foreign entities taking advantage of the citizens and their resources, especially technological resources on the continent. It's going to look like us not having any privacy regulations. It's going to look like people farming our data with all access, like no restrictions. So there is a need for AI regulation. There is a need for ethical frameworks to guide AI regulation, especially when we talk about AI regulation in military use, AI regulation in economic use. So there's an argument to be made there. And I think, unfortunately, where we are right now, we can't afford to choose one or the other. We have to come to a point where we are both focusing on AI regulation and AI infrastructure, which I'm not going to lie to you, we are pretty stretched thin at the moment. So it's going to take all hands on deck, literally across all fields, to get us to the point where we have our walls ready, right? This makes me, if you're not Christian, that's fine. But there's a chapter that speaks about this guy called Nehemiah and how he's building the city of Jerusalem, and he's also building up walls, right? So you have to have your walls while you're building up the city. So we're going to have to do both. We're going to have to be building our walls, which is the regulation to protect us from outsiders. And we're going to have to be building the city, which is the infrastructure and the tools and the ideas and the solutions and things of that nature. So I don't know how we're going to do it. I do not know, but I trust that it is possible. At the very least, it is possible. So, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and we'll see. Have a good one.